Hello, Dawn. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me all right, Dawn? Can you hear me, Maida?
I can hear you.
Okay. Gonna wait a couple more minutes to see if anybody else drops in. Okay, looks like Dawn can hear us.
Good. Okay. Should mean everyone else can.
Yeah, welcome everybody down in the Adler room. And welcome Barb. Glad to have you guys here tonight. We'll start in just a couple of minutes. I wanted to get a couple of housekeeping things out of the way. We are recording this tonight, so it will be able to be viewed later on YouTube. If you have any questions during the presentation, be sure and put them in the Q&A section, and we'll get to those at the end of it. We'll let Maida talk first, and then we'll ask questions later. If you have any questions for me, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you're having any problems hearing us or anything, go ahead and do that. There will be, hopefully it will show up, a survey at the end of this, a real quick survey, if you want to go ahead and take that. Otherwise, I think it will come to you in an email if you want to do that and let us know what we can do differently or what you like, things like that. Give it another minute, see if anybody else pops in. Hello, Paula. Nice to have you here tonight. And Susan. Yay, people are coming in late here. Not late, I guess later.
So I have 3 different times depending on which clock I look at.
Yeah, it's all different. I feel like it's midnight, but it's really just around 6:30. So if you missed what I said earlier on, if you have any questions that you want to ask for Maida during your presentation, go ahead and type them at any time in the Q&A section at the bottom. And we can address those at the end of the presentation. This will be recorded and you can look back at it at a later date on YouTube. So. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Natalie Cruz and I work here at the Everett Roehl Marshfield Library in the adult services area. I also do things with interlibrary loan. And tonight we're very fortunate to have my boss, actually. I have to be on my best behavior. Maida Hess, who came to Marshfield here 2 years ago. Right before everything crashed in the world with the pandemic. She came in January, I believe, and the world hasn't been the same since, Maida, with all this pandemic stuff.
I don't take responsibility for anything.
I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you either. So she's going to enlighten us about the LINKcat catalog that we now have. We switched over in September and became a link library. So she's going to take us through that and what it means for the patrons. So go ahead and take it away, Maida.
Okay, so I am actually going to share my screen. I'm going to stop my video and share my presentation here. So give me a moment to get going with that. And hopefully you guys should be seeing that soon. Okay. So I do have some kind of prepared slides we're going to kind of go through, and I'm going to show you guys some screenshots. So hopefully it all makes sense as we go through. I'm glad everyone can be here tonight. We're excited to share this with you. LINKcat was kind of a long time coming and something we worked on bringing it to our patrons. We really think it's going to make things easier for everybody and give you guys access to a lot more materials that we didn't have access to easily before. You might have been able to get these things before, but you would have had to come to the desk and ask us to do it for you. So when we talk about LINKcat, it is a shared catalog. That means that it's a bunch of libraries pooling their resources. And in this case, it's over 50 libraries. And that means we've got over 3 million items that we can share between all those libraries. So things are going all over the place, and it just means that you've got more stuff available. So to get to LINKcat, you can start from our website. And if you haven't gone before, our website is marshfieldlibrary.org. And there are a couple of different ways, really easy ways to get to LINKcat from there. One option right off the bat, you can do a search from our page. And that's going to be that circle down there at the bottom. And it's asking, what would you like to find? If you type in something and hit that little magnifying glass, it will search LINKcat for you right away. Another option is up at the right-hand corner. There are 2 links. One is search the catalog and the other is account login. So those are a couple of ways to get there from our website. And the best bet really is to start from our website. If you start from our website, it will know that you're coming from our library and it will prioritize our stuff. So it's a best bet to make sure you start from there so you get where you want to be. Okay, so this is what LINKcat looks like. And this kind of middle main part is actually a rotating slide. So that's going to look different from wherever you see it. But the top part will kind of be the same. You got our logo of the LINKcat up at the top and some search things. But right now we are going to go ahead and look at logging in. So up in the upper right-hand corner, there is a little option to see my dashboard /login. And if you click on that, we're going to kind of zoom in. You'll see that the 2 options of my dashboard and login pop up. And they're kind of the same, but there's a little slight difference in where you end up. So both options, if you click on them, will take you to a login screen. It just changes where you'll end up after you log in. If you go to login, when you log in, it'll take you right back to the main screen for LINKcat. If you click on my dashboard, it'll take you right to my dashboard after you log in. So this is what it looks like when you log in. I do have my library card filled in there for you, most of it. I'm not showing you all of it right now. And then and that library card number, so that's the barcode on your library card number, and it's the number underneath it. It's for us, it usually starts off with 23404. So look for that number, and that's what you're going to put in. And then below that, you're going to put in your PIN or your password. Now, you may have logged into our last catalog and known your PIN then, but we had kind of ran into a little hiccup when we moved over to LINKcat. And unfortunately, none of the passwords made it when we moved. So we had to reset everybody's PIN number. So your PIN number, if you haven't changed it yet, is going to be the last 4 digits of your library card number. So when you look at that number, the last 4, you're not paying attention to any of the spaces or anything else. It's just those last 4 numbers. That's going to be your PIN number. So go ahead and you will enter those things in, and you will have an option to change that later on. I'll show you that in just a moment. So once you put sign in, it will tell you up in the right hand corner that you have successfully logged in, and it will give you the option to go to your dashboard. So this is your dashboard. And we are going to take a little look at some of these things before we get into searching. I wanted you to kind of see some of the features and know how to get around. So on your dashboard, down at the bottom, there is my personal details. And that is where we're going to go to change our PIN today. So when you click on that, it brings up a page that talks about some of your basic information. And forgive me, I'm not sharing all that today either. But there is a button for change your PIN. When you click on that, a new window pops up. This is what it looks like. And then it's going to ask you to put in your current PIN number. And once again, it's going to be the last 4 digits of your library barcode number. And then below that, you can do whatever PIN you want it to be. So 4 digits is probably the best bet. Just do 4 digits. And you're going to enter that twice to make sure you get it right and exactly what you want it to be. And then you can go ahead and submit it. And then you've changed your PIN number. So once we've done that, we're going to go back to our dashboard. And the next thing I want to look at is our checkouts. And so that's right here in the top. And at a glance on this page, it will show you how many things you've got checked out. And it also is kind of nice in that little blue highlighted 2, it will show you how many things are due this week. So you kind of know what's coming up. If you click on checked out, it will take you to this page, and that shows you your things that are checked out. And so you can see the things I have checked out. A couple of important things here over on the right. For each item, it will tell you if it's able to be renewed. So here you can see that this one is able to be renewed and it has 2 renewals remaining. If you can't renew it because it's on hold, it will just say on hold or whatever reason, and then you know you're not able to renew that item. Another thing you can do to renew items over here on the left, you can click on the checkbox in front of each individual item or select all of them, and then you can renew any of the items that are eligible for renewal. So a couple of different ways to do things. That's how you go about renewing items. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is your checkout history. And the checkout history is a list of all the items you've checked out on this card. It does default to being turned off, and you can see up in the upper right-hand corner that says checkout history off. You are able to turn that on by clicking that button, and it'll take you to this next box. And one thing to notice here is there's kind of a disclaimer. They just want you to know that by turning this on, you are saving the information so that you or anybody who has your library card number and PIN number could log in and see. They want you to know that library staff are not going to look at that unless they're required to do so by law, and they will not share that unless required to do so by law. But it's a risk that anybody who has your card and your PIN number can do that. So you can check the little box over there on the left saying you want to retain that, and you'll save your changes. And then you'll get another pop-up box. And this time it's just asking you to put in your library card number. And I think that's just kind of like signing. It's a way to say, yes, I'm verifying that this is a thing I really want to do, and that you understand what's going to happen. So once you do that, it will tell you you've updated your changes. So if you want to view your checkout history, we're going to go back to our dashboard, and on our checked out little window there, it now has view checkout history. So that's new since before. When we click on that, this is the page that comes up, and it will show you the items you've checked out, where you checked it out from, and the dates you had that item checked out. So it will remember things from when you turn it on. If you go back and turn that off at a later date, it will delete everything and you will not be able to reclaim that. And you know, it's kind of handy to have this. It's nice to like remember what was that one book about history. You know, you can go back and see. I like to have this on, and it's kind of a personal preference. So, okay. We are going to go back to the dashboard now, and we're going to look at things that are on hold. So that's their little box down here. It's going to show you how many are actively on hold right now. If you click on that, it'll bring up a list of the things you have on hold. There's a couple of different things you can do from this screen. So you can obviously view your holds, but you can also suspend holds, resume holds, and you can cancel holds. So canceling will just outright delete the hold. It won't be on hold for you anymore. You'll be completely off the list. But let's say you have a bunch of things on hold and you're getting really close to the top of the list, and you're worried they're going to come on when you're on vacation. You're going to be on vacation for 3 weeks. You can suspend those holds, and it's kind of like pushing pause. You will keep moving forward on that list, but if you get to number 1, it's going to skip over you and send it on to the next person so that you don't lose your place in line. So let's say you want to suspend an item. You can go ahead and hit one of the buttons up here. You can either do the checkbox or hit the suspend button over on the right, and it'll bring up this box. And you can suspend something with an open ending. So just say, I'm going to suspend it until I come in here and resume it. Or you can say, I'm going to suspend it until I get back from vacation on this date. So you can pick a date from the calendar and go ahead and suspend it there. One thing to remember about suspending the holds and on a certain date is on the day that you resume it doesn't mean that you're going to get that item right away on that day. It means that on that day, if you've moved to number one, the next one that comes in will be yours. That could be that day, could be a couple of days. You know, maybe there's all of the items just got checked out and they're not going to come back for 2 or 3 weeks. So it doesn't give you control over when it comes. It just means that it won't come for a certain time. So suspend a couple of things. And then those items that are suspended are going to move down to the bottom of your list. So you're seeing the bottom portion of my holds list here. And you can see that they're all highlighted in yellow. So those items are suspended. And you can see that I've got one, the death of Jane Lawrence, that is an open-ended suspension. I have to come in here and manually resume it. And the bottom title, Dial A for Aunties, is actually going to resume on a specific date. So that's where your suspended holds are going to go. So a couple of basic housekeeping things on your LINKcat record, but let's get to the stuff that you guys are want to know about, and that's searching. So a lot of searching is going to be really similar to what you've done before on different library catalogs. You know, we've got this search bar that looks really similar to the one that you can find on our homepage. A couple of differences here. A couple of things to note. On the left, that first drop-down box gives you the type of search that you're doing. So where you're actually going to look for your search terms. You can do a search for keyword, title, author, and a couple of other options there. So that specifically can narrow down the things you're getting back. The next box is actually going to give you format options. And there is a big long list of formats available here. You don't have to limit here, but if you know that you want a CD, you want a compact disc, something like that, or you know you want the Blu-ray DVD, you can limit here and make sure that you only see those options. And there are a couple of kind of the things where I don't think there are a lot of options. And you can get a cassette. There are apparently some LP vinyls out there. I don't think a library is going to send those through delivery, but we could always try it. But you can sort of browse through that list if you're looking for something specific. So your search term goes in the next box. And when you're ready, you can click on the little magnifying glass and you'll get a search result that looks like something like this. So I did a search for the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. And you can see here that each of the search terms that I looked for are going to be highlighted in my results. And so you can see that first one is a perfect result because it has every word exactly. Maybe you'll just get a couple of your search terms that are highlighted in your results. You never know how that's going to go. If you do a search and you mistype something and you get a typo, it might suggest alternatives if it comes up with an option, which is back in our old catalog, it never was able to do that. So this is kind of an improvement. It's a little closer to Amazon and that it has a little bit more suggestions, but you still have to get the spelling and things right to get your results here. Once you've done your search, you can refine your search. And so over on the left, you'll see a couple of options to refine your search. Unfortunately, this list is too long to fit on my screen. So I'm going to have to break it up a little bit. But I think one of the handiest is over here on the left. It will show you all of the libraries that have items that have your search terms that are available on the shelf. So they're available to be checked out right now. You could go to the shelf and find it. And you can see our library listed there. And these aren't in alphabetical. It seems to be in order of who has more copies. That's really what you're getting here. But that's kind of a handy thing to be able to look and see who has what available. There are a couple of more if you keep going down, and I've kind of cut those out so you could just see them. You can also limit your search by format. So in this case, we knew we had a graphic novel, so I could click on graphic novel and just see those copies. Or maybe you want the audio book, so you could click on compact disc. Further down, you'll have things like author. Topic is going to be some of your subject headings. You can see the genre. Another nice one is the publication date. So there are a couple of different things. If you know that this book was brand new and just published in 2020, you can click on there. If you think it's relatively new and it was published in the last 10 years, you can put in specific years, or you can select or click on one of their options there. Another option to limit is by language. So if you're looking specifically for it in English, or if you want it in a different language, you can check on those boxes. The last one I have here is owned by. So that actually shows up usually down at the bottom of our list of things to limit by. And unlike our first list of libraries, this one shows you each library that owns it, but not necessarily has it on the shelf right now. So you can see that we have a copy, we just don't have it here. Okay, so going back to our searches, and you can see that you're also able to resort our searches. So if you want to see the topics, but you want to see them, the oldest books, you can click on publication date oldest first. If you want to see it by most popular books, you can see the most popular first. So that's just a way to rearrange your results. Okay. So that's some of the basics of searching. Now we wanted to break down a little bit and show you our advanced search options. So that you're going to find back on our main LINKcat page, and you can always click on that LINKcat logo to bring you back here. So if you click on advanced search, which is there in the middle box, in the middle bar there, it's going to bring up this page. This is another very complicated long page, so I've broken it down into pieces to show you what our different options are. And this top one is going to give you your search terms. And the first box, you can include all or include any. And so if you know you want each of those terms to be in the box, you can click include all. Or if you think it might be there, or you might have some extra words, you can click on include any. The next one is going to be the type of search you want to do. So kind of like before where we had, keyword, title, author, you've got a couple more options here to really narrow down your search and look for something specific. You're also able to add more search terms. So if you wanted to have a couple of different things here, you could click on add another and just keep adding search terms. Just remember, the more terms you put in there, the less results you're going to get because you're narrowing down the options. So if you keep scrolling down on this bar, further down, you have different ways to limit your search. And this is the biggest one that might become relevant to you. If you're looking for books and you want to see only books that are here that are owned by the Everett, Roehl, Marshfield Public Library, this first box is going to give you that option. Or let's say that you're willing to go down to Wisconsin Rapids, you can add us in Wisconsin Rapids. So a couple of different options there for where you might find items. You can also limit by language, by audience, by types of content, or even further down, you can limit for publication date. So it's just more places to narrow down that information we talked about before. So that's your advanced search option, might be useful to you. Once you've got your results list, you can pick one from the results list and you're going to get the title details page. So this is what it looks like when you click on a title. And each one is going to look a little bit different, but there's a couple things I wanted to point out here. So up on the left, there's a graphic, an image. And if we have a cover image on file for this book, you'll be able to see it there. This one does not have one, unfortunately. This middle gray box is going to give you more specific information about this title. So you're going to get the title of the book. You're going to get a format. So that can be really helpful from weeding out, oh, well, this is an audiobook, or this is a DVD that has a similar title, but it's not what we're looking for. So it's good to look for the format there. Just below that are subjects. And so these are keywords that we've attached to this title so you can kind of see what this is about. And that can be another way to really tell, is this the book I'm looking for? Is it about this Marshfield? Is it about Marshfield, Wisconsin, or about Marshfield, Massachusetts? So you can kind of see different options there. Below that, you'll find information about when it was published. This could be useful if you want to see how new this book is. You kind of want to narrow down and make sure it's got information that's relevant to you. A couple more down, you will see the description. And this can be handy to see how long is this book? Is it a 20-page little booklet, or is it a 600-page book like this one almost is? You can also see how big the book is, because sometimes it might just be a little paperback or a larger hardcover. Further down in this box, the other thing that's really important to note is the copies. So it's going to tell you in our library system, we have 20 copies of this book. There are 20 different copies owned by various libraries. For this specific book, there are actually 14 that are currently available. So 14 of the 20 copies are available. Just below that, it has hold information. So if there were 7 holds on this book, it would tell you that, and it would tell you how many of them are active holds versus how many are suspended, which if it's a brand new book and there are 350 holds, you kind of want to know where you're going to be on that list. Now, it can be kind of intimidating if it's a new book to look at this and to realize that there are 350 holds on a book, but it's important to look at the number of copies. There are 50 libraries out there, and chances are a bunch of them have more than one copy of a book that's really popular. So there might be 100 copies of the book. That holds list will work through a lot faster than you think. So it's a good idea to look at that information when you're looking for books. If you're looking for genealogy books, you're probably not going to wait very long, but you never know. It might be some kind of a run on that book that day. So the other thing to look at on this page is up on the right. The top right box is the search results navigator. So you can actually click from one result on your list to another just to see more information about each one. Or that middle box that says list, you can click and go right back to your list of results and navigate pretty easily without losing anything. Just below that, there are title actions. So the actions include placing a hold. You can print your information, or you can save it to a list. And we're going to talk about the lists a little bit later on. Further down on the page, you've got the holding information. So this will tell you of those 20 items we talked about, it will give you more information about each one. So each item is going to have its own line here. And because we went in through the Marshfield Libraries page, it's going to show you the Everett Roehl Marshfield Public Library copies first. It's favoring our copies. So that's kind of handy for you. So it'll show you which library owns it. It'll tell you where it is based on the location and the collection. It's going to give you that call number. So you're going to want to remember that. And then over on the far right column, it's going to tell you the availability. It's going to tell you if it's available, if it's checked out, if it's waiting on a hold shelf for somebody somewhere, if it's in transit from one library to another, or if maybe it got lost or is in mending. So that helps you know if you're going to be able to find that book on the shelf, or if you request it, if it might come pretty quickly. All right, checking my notes to make sure we're covering all the good stuff. Another kind of handy thing, just on the top of that holdings page, is the view nearby items on the shelf. So if you click on that, it will show you kind of almost like an idea of what the bookshelf will look like and the items that are going to be on either side. It's kind of like browsing the shelf, but you're doing it from home or the computer. This relies on the shelving information and the call numbers to be accurate. So not 100%, but it could be kind of interesting to see maybe there's a book that's 2 books down that might be what I'm looking for. So that's kind of a handy new feature you can always check out. Some books, particularly items that are pretty popular, newer items, are going to have a separate tabs by the holdings that shows you reviews and more. So if you're looking for a new nonfiction or fiction, whatever the top bestsellers are, they're going to have some information to help you pick out if you really want this book. So you might find some blurbs or reviews or if it won any awards. You might find information about the author and other books they've written, if there's more in that series. And you might be able to see similar authors that you might be interested in. Or if there are other formats of this book, if you can get this book in large print and in audio, or what have you, maybe an ebook, it'll show you some of that information here. So that could be kind of a fun thing to explore. We're going to go back to a title that we looked at earlier, and we're going to add this to a list. So you may have noticed earlier, we do have carts, and you can kind of see in the middle here, you can add this to a cart, or over on the right, you can add it to a list. Now, the thing to remember about carts versus lists is that carts are not something that are going to stay. So if you time out your screen, or you log out, or you go to a different page and come back, anything that was in your cart will be gone. A cart can be handy to put together a bunch of items and put them all on hold at once, but you've got to remember to do that or you're going to lose that information. If you want to build a list so that you can come back to it, maybe reference it months down the line, maybe you're building a list of books that you've read, you want to do the lists over on the right, those will stay, and you'll be able to access those from your dashboard. So that's the difference between the carts and the lists. Cart goes away, your lists you can keep for indefinitely. So for a title that you do want to add to a list, you're going to click on Save to Your Lists, and it's going to bring up a box like this, and then you've got two options. If you've already got a couple of lists, you can add it to an existing list. If you haven't created one, or if you want to create a new list, there's an option in the middle. You're going to have to give your list a title. And so this one I did Marshfield History. And then you can go ahead and create that list, and it will add the selected book to it. Let's say you created your list and you wanted to go back to your title results. You can go back to that list and add a bunch more. So an easy way to do that is to just click that little checkbox in front of each one. And then you'll scroll back up to the top of your results list, and there's a little box that says Actions. And from there, you can add these to a list. So that's the second option down. Once you click on that, you'll get this option, and it will ask you to add them to an existing list. And you can say Add to List. Now, to see that list that you've created, you're going to want to go back to your dashboard. And down at the bottom, by where we edited our personal details earlier, you can click on My Lists. And then it's going to bring up this, which is going to show you the list. So this is my current Marshfield History list with 4 titles in it. So let's say I've decided I want to put all 4 of these books on hold, so I have them sent to me to pick up. You can go ahead and check them, and then it'll give you the option to place them on hold. And this is kind of what it looks like from there. So you can, maybe you changed your mind and only want to do 3 of them right now. You can click on each one individually, place hold. Or you might want to say, let's do all of them. And you can go ahead at the bottom, click on Submit All, and it'll put those on hold for you. So that's how you will deal with lists. A couple of ways to kind of play with your search results. Another really cool thing about having our new LINKcat catalog is that there's an app. So if you wanted to install this app on your phone, you would have a very easy way to navigate our catalog from your phone. So you can find the LINKcat app in your app store. And if you ever need help with that, you could stop in. Once you installed it, you will log in using your library card number and the PIN. And then I've got a couple of screenshots showing you what it looks like on my phone. So on the first one, the first section over on the left, this is what it will look like once you log in. Up at the top, you can see you've got access to your dashboard again, and that'll look pretty similar to what you had on the website. Another neat feature is it'll show you the nearest LINKcat libraries. So let's say you're traveling down by the Wisconsin Dells and you want to see libraries near you. You can log in and give it access, and it'll show you the nearest library. Maybe you're in Madison. You can use your card there, your Marshfield card in Madison now, and so it'll just show you the closest branch. Another really cool feature is a couple down. It will show you an option to scan ISBN. So this one will actually use your camera on your phone, and you'll be able to scan an ISBN on a book, and it'll show you if you can find it in the catalog. So maybe you're at a friend's house and they've got a really cool local history and you wanted to see if you can find it through LINKcat, it'll bring you right there. Another thing that is pretty cool about LINKcat, if you're looking for just new books to read, just below that scan ISBN, they have don't miss lists. And that'll show you a couple of different options as far as kind of curated lists for books. It will show you new titles, whether you're looking at kids books, adults, maybe you want some teen books. It'll show you the bestsellers. It might pull out a couple of other curated lists. For example, the chapter a day books from the Wisconsin Public Radio. There's a list of those. There's also lists for award winners. So that information is also available on the LINKcat website, but here's a quick, easy shortcut to that. Below that, you will find the ebook and e-audio, which is going to give you a shortcut to Overdrive. And Overdrive is our platform for doing ebooks and e-audio books. And if you haven't experienced Overdrive yet, it is a statewide consortium. So the state of Wisconsin pooled money to share ebooks amongst all the libraries. So there's quite a lot of content available out there. You can check out a library book and read it on your phone without ever having to leave your house. This was really handy when the whole world shut down a little while ago. So you might want to keep that in mind and play around with that just in case you're ever stuck inside for a little bit. Snowstorms also, if you ever get stuck in a snowstorm and you don't want to go out for something to read, Overdrive is a really great resource for that. The middle section here will have a couple more features. If you kind of swipe right on your app, it'll show you what else is available. The online resources listed here are actually going to be the databases that are available through South Central. So it's not all of our resources, it's just the ones we get directly from South Central. But a couple of things to explore there. Just below that is a link for newspapers. And the window on the right shows you what that looks like once you open it up. But basically there is a LINKcat index to a couple of local newspapers that you can explore. So this index includes the Wisconsin State Journal, as well as a couple of papers from Baraboo, from Dane County, Portage, Reedsburg, and then there are also a couple of Wisconsin magazines that are indexed there. And those are available through the full text databases below, but this index will kind of help you search. So if you've got family, you know, in Mount Horeb, you might be able to see some local articles that are relevant to your searches there. So a lot of this information was specific to browsing LINKcat. It's not all genealogy specific, but wanted to kind of give you an overview and show you what's out there. And I'm sure you guys will find some creative ways to use that. I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to send it back to Natalie.
Thank you, Maida. That was really informative. I actually learned a few things about making a list that I haven't gotten to try yet, so that was really helpful.
Yeah.
If you guys want to indulge me for just a brief moment here before I take some questions and answers, or questions to give to Maida, I kind of want to touch on what is still here at the library. LINKcat was a huge change. It was a good change, and you're going to be able to see so many things that are available. But I also wanted to let you know that there still are other services here that remain the same that they used to be. For example, we can still go outside of the South Central Library system to get any interlibrary loans that you may be looking for that you can't find through LINKcat. We've had the capability to do that through other resources in Wisconsin. I can go to other libraries in Wisconsin outside of the South Central Library system. Or we can go through WorldCat, which is libraries from other states and everything. So especially if you have something that's maybe a genealogy item that's a little harder to get, South Central they don't often send genealogy items. They instead request that you get a photocopy of the index of the item that you're looking for. And then you can maybe, see what person you're looking for or something. And, doing my own family history things, sometimes we don't really know what we're looking for. So we need to actually have that book in our hands. And WorldCat is a little bit better that way, where I can get that for you as a patron. If you want to go outside of the LINKcat system, that's not something you can order directly online, even though the South Central website does have an online resources page where you can get into WorldCat and you can search it. You can't directly order those items. You still have to go through our library staff in order to request those interlibrary loan items that aren't in the South Central library system. And you can do that the same old way you used to by calling us at an information desk, at the adult information desk, or at our youth services desk. You can give them that information, what you're looking for. You can call me. I work in the interlibrary loan office. My extension is 2750. You can also get on our website and fill out an online request form for an interlibrary loan, and you can do it that way. Also, I wanted to let you know that oftentimes through WorldCat, they don't send genealogy things that are kind of rare either, but oftentimes they will send it library to library. So an item could be deemed conditional, and that means that that library will send it to our library under the condition that we will have it here and the patron can't check it out, but they could read it here. So that's another way that we can get you some things that are a little bit harder to get that you might not find through South Central Library System. And I know especially like if you're looking for a book out of state that's on family history of, someone in Ohio or something. Oftentimes, like our library, we have more than one copy of local history. So oftentimes I'm able to get that second copy that that library would have, and then they would be able to send that. So there's ways we can kind of get those information things to you a little bit more efficiently. I also wanted to let you know that, I've got an audience here, that the Wisconsin State Historical Library is now open for business for ordering microfilm. They had shut down for a period of time during the pandemic, but now they're loaning the microfilm again. So if you have never done that in the past, you just need to fill out a form again or call us and we will try to get the microfilm that you're looking for. It's usually just within the state. But we would need like the newspaper name. And if you don't know that, we would just need to know the city and the date that you're looking for. And it was brought to my attention recently that a lot of people didn't know that we had a certain resource in our Felker room. This book is entitled Guide to Wisconsin Newspapers, 1833 to 1957. We call it the Green Book, or at least I do. This is a real great resource and it'll be found in our Felker room. And it's organized by county, and you just look in whatever county the city is that you're looking for, and it tells you like when that newspaper started and what it was called. And many times the newspaper changes names a little bit, and it tells you what date, so it can help you kind of track down which newspaper you're looking for if you're not really sure. Also, I want to reiterate that we still have all of our online resources that we've always had. We've got a subscription or a limited version for newspapers.com, ancestry.com. And Ancestry, by the way, is free now through the end of the year because of the pandemic. Usually you had to be in our library on our website to get into that. But until the end of the year, it's free and you can get into our website from your home and get into it and use ancestry.com if you want to get started on some research that way. We still have Heritage Quest, ProQuest, historical newspapers. We still have our wonderful Felker room with all sorts of local, state, county, national history information. We have the microfilm for the Marshfield News Herald going clear back to 1882, I think is the earliest one. We have census records on microfilm. We have passenger lists. All of that still is remaining the same, even though we went to a whole new catalog system and everything. But I think probably the thing that I want you to remember the most from this presentation tonight is that our library is probably the greatest resource, no matter what kind of catalog we have or anything. And I don't want to sound like I'm patting our staff on the back too much, especially since my boss is listening in here. But we know how to connect you with the information that you're looking for. And if you're having trouble using the LINKcat catalog, or if you're not finding what you want in there, contact us. We'll search outside that system and we'll try to find it for you. We'll show you how to use a microfilm reader. We will show you how to get started on Ancestry. We don't do all of your family research for you, but that's the fun part for you too. So there's all sorts of things that we can help you get started with, or to know what resources are out there. So never feel badly about contacting us about any of that, because that's what our jobs are here, to help you get connected with the information that you want. And I think you all are going to really enjoy using LINKcat. Like Maida said, things have been coming really quickly, within 24-hour turnaround many times. You will probably notice that it's a lot like genealogy when you start. You'll find all sorts of things that lead you other places, and interests that lead you into something else. It's kind of like that rabbit hole that you go down and find a hard time getting out. But as many people who do genealogy, we know all about those rabbit holes. So that won't be anything new to us. Anybody have any questions for Maida? Go ahead and take this time and write it down if you want, and I'll get it to her, or maybe she can see.
Yeah, I've got a couple from the chat, and then I wanted to follow up. So that fabulous green book that Natalie showed, the Guide to Wisconsin Newspapers, that is actually available online now. You can find it on the Wisconsin Historical Society's website under their library archives and digital collection. And they actually have a copy that's available. It's 1833 to 2004, so a little bit updated. It's a PDF. You can save that. I'm working on getting that added to our e-sources page, but that's really handy. When you're looking at genealogy and you want to find, an obituary from a certain area, it helps to know, was there a paper at that time, and when did it publish, and what was the name? And having that information would be really helpful if you need to request microfilm, but Natalie knows exactly what she's looking for.
Well,
so,
most of the time.
Well, a better idea. So Don put a couple of questions in our chat, and Natalie addressed one of these at least. So when it comes to the turnaround time for LINKcat stuff, it's pretty quick. If an item is available, I've been saying a couple of days, but I think that there are cases where it comes in a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Not everything is always available, but if there's a library somewhere that has it, hopefully they'll be able to pull it off the shelf and get it to us in delivery within a day or two. So that can be really helpful. The one thing that's going to be a little different from when we were used to request it through interlibrary loan before we were a LINKcat library, is the loan periods, the borrowing times, is going to rely on the library now. Before, they would give us a pretty good bit of time to get the item and get it to you. Now it's going to get checked out to you once you come here to pick it up, and you have whatever that library's lending period is. So it might be 4 weeks on a book. It might be 2 weeks because it's a pretty popular book. It might be 1 week for a movie. It might be more. So you want to watch your checkout slips, because the loan periods can vary more now that we've got different libraries in the mix, and we don't have a control over those loan periods. But it depends on the item and where it comes from. The other thing that Don was asking about was Boolean search tools. You can certainly use those, especially in that advanced search option, or just in the search box. If you want to use those, they're definitely available to you. You can use, I know for sure, and or not. But I haven't played around with it a ton. You know, I think that it kind of helps to be able to just use those limiters. That's kind of my search method. So, but they are available to you. You can use them in LINKcat. So that's the questions that Don sent over. Are there any other questions? You guys are just so focused. I'm sure you couldn't even come up with any because we covered everything.
I think you did such a good job of it, Maida, that you hit every possible scenario.
Oh, that's the problem. It's too much, isn't it? But there's always more. And if you run into any questions, come into the library. If you see something that isn't working the way you expect it to, please let us know. Sometimes it's a specific, it only affects certain users. And unless one of those users says something, we don't know that it's a problem. The biggest thing when we switched over was Overdrive. A lot of our users had issues with Overdrive. They needed to change the library that they were logging in through. And not everybody got the message that we needed to do that. I mean, unless you're looking at our social media pages, you might not know. So people were waiting for weeks to get in. And finally, they got so frustrated, they'd call us. And it's like, well, we could have gotten you in 3 weeks ago. So don't hesitate to call us if you're having problems or stop in. A lot of times it's easier if we can see what you're seeing, but we could try to figure out a solution for you there. If something is new and you just don't know where you're going, we will walk you through that. We can show you things. Yeah, there's a lot we can do for you. So remember, we're here. We want to help.
Well, thank you, Maida. That was a really good presentation. And I just want to remind everybody that next month, Family History Talks will be coming back again. I think it's November 10th. And that time will be speaker Vicki Schnitzler, and she will be talking about wills and the value of finding information through those wills. So we're looking forward to that. I hope all of you join us again next month. And if there's no more questions, I think we're going to end this. So thank you for coming. And thank you, Maida.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes. Bye, everyone.